China is finally going through with it. They're beginning to sell off more than $1 trillion it owns of the U.S. debt, our debt. So why are they doing this? And what does it really mean? We're going to drill down on all of this, but we're going to begin with a RT Boom Bust host, Ben Swan, and this explainer.
The U.S. Federal Reserve's endless printing of U.S. dollars is resulting in a new consequence from one of the largest holders of American debt. We're talking, of course, about China. According to new reports, China, which is the second largest foreign creditor, has decided to not wait for the devaluation of the U.S. dollar and is actively selling American debt. Keep in mind, during the first quarter of 2020, the Fed printed more than $2 trillion, with more on the way. Last year, China got rid of $110 billion in U.S. treasuries, and within just the past few weeks, they have dropped another $10 billion. Aside from the massive printing of U.S. dollars, another major issue for the Chinese has been talk of the Fed moving to negative interest rates. Now, as of Wednesday afternoon, the Fed announced it will not pursue that policy of negative interest rates at this time. But the discussion of negative interest rates has been going on for several months now. According to Standard Chartered economists, the federal fund rate at minus 0.5 or even minus 1% will result in a significant drop in government bond yields, which would facilitate Washington's debt servicing. The concern from the Chinese is that those negative interest rates will not benefit the value of the dollar and that U.S. currency, as a result, will inevitably become cheaper. Now, keep in mind, American debt is a widely held and extremely desirable asset in the global economy. Whatever debt China does sell is simply purchased by other countries. For instance, back in August of 2015, China reduced its holdings of U.S. treasuries by about $180 billion. Despite the scale, this sell-off did not significantly affect the U.S. economy. But the difference between 2015 and 2020, well, there are three major differences. Number one, we're talking about the incredible amount of liquidity the Fed has poured into the market just this year alone. Number two, an attempt by the Fed to go to negative interest rates. And then number three, the issue of a global pandemic that has devastated economies around the world.
All right, Shalom. This is Harwan Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Call Halayim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Harakakodash, Ma'amath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim and Akwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. As you see, man, China's talking about dumping trillions of dollars in debt that they bought up from the feds. All right. Years ago, America went into debt with the Great Depression, even the establishment of the dollar in America in 1913. Right. And them coining it as the world currency in 1971 with the Nixon shock. And since then, a lot of countries been buying dollars. And basically what the dollar is a debt instrument. It's a debt instrument. Fiat currency, which means floating or funny money. All right. So for every measure of debt, they created a dollar. So if you were in debt to me, I would excuse me, I would create a dollar as a certificate of proof of that debt. You see that? But so now America produces what? Debt or dollar notes. And now the dollar is supposed to represent something. But ever since 1971, the dollar is not backed by gold. So it represents nothing but contract. That's it. Or legal. That's why I said legal tender. It's backed by the courts. That's it. Or the IRS. So now, or the banks. All right. So now it's not worth anything. So China is realizing that, and the only reason it was worth something is because of the faith in the dollar. And that's what bond yields represent. Faith in the currency or the economy, of which investors seek 3-month returns, 5-month returns, or, yearly return, 3-year returns, or so on and so on. Now, what's happening is if the Feds lower interest rates, that means they're losing faith in the dollar, because what the Feds will do is this is the trick. They'll say, hey, your economy is booming because look, the dollar's doing great. So we're going to We're going to increase interest rates, meaning you can pay it because you're doing good. When the dollar's doing bad, they lower interest rates. And that's a sign, that's a signal to investors to pull out. All right. So those investors are looking out long term down the line. And the long term bond yields, they're starting to pull out. All right. So it's like a train passing by with a bunch of trailers on it. But towards the end of the trailer, there's no trailers. It's empty. All right. So that's representing bond yields and the actual currency. So now China's dumping that. They bought up trillions of dollars in debt. America's in, I forgot what it's at now, man, 22 trillion, something like that. And China owns half of that, or most of it. All right. And they sell it around the world. That'd be like you owing somebody and you owe one person. And next thing you know, when you run into them, 5 other people come up to you and say, hey, I bought a piece of that debt. So you owe me too now. You owe me a percentage. And as the interest increases, you begin to owe more and more people. So that's what's happening with America. They're going to owe the whole world. Now, with China owning the debt, right? They own the debt. By owning the debt, they basically own America. So they can send those dollars home to roost, meaning what? It's called dumping dollars, selling off dollars, or dumping them. So, or looking for a return. Well, if they come looking for that return, the only thing they can take is mortgages, house, what would we call mortgages? What is it with the cars and boats? Titles. So they're going to own everything that's property. All right. Or anything they want. Now, so they bought up debt, and the more they hold that debt, before it was a powerful instrument to use around the world to buy up other commodities, other currencies, or whatever, or to lend back to America or whatever. But now it's becoming hard to manage their holdings in those debts. By holding all those dollars in debt while the dollar's losing value, you begin to have to buy more dollars to maintain that basket of currency, meaning the dollar, to maintain it in the banks. It becomes the cost. It begins to cost more to keep the dollar. So they have to dump it. All right. And by doing so, all the investors are going to pull out. And what is that called? A dollar collapse. All right. That's your crash. You have economic crash and you have a dollar crash. All right. The economy already crashed. It's about the dollar now. That's the only thing propping up the market is the faith in the dollar. All right. And now by China making this move this coming week, you're going to hear about a lot of investors. And it's funny because they're talking about a housing crash. All right. So, hey, you never know what China's up to with them dollars. All right. We call it dollars. China call it, bankers call it debt notes, because that's what they are. And that's what America has laden itself with, debt. By creating the dollar, they created debt. By having that debt to the European nations or Federal Reserve, Bank of England, that debt, they had to keep duplicating it because imagine you owing me or I owe you. And all right, imagine China or America owes China. But now China saying, hey, we sold off some of that debt. Now you owe me more. You don't owe just me, you owe all these people. All right. So that's what's happening right now, man. America has created the dollar, or established the dollar around the world as a world currency, meaning their debt, they duplicated it, mass produced it. What's it going to cause? What? Hyperinflation at the shelves real soon. The dollar loses value, and you're going to see it by the prices increasing on the shelves. All right. That's a sneaky way they're going to do it. So they can give out a stimulus check, but what if the dollar crash? Woo. All right. And they try to blame it on the protests or something. You just never know, man. So get ready, man. They're going to have a second wave of that corona. All right. Because every time they deal with that, the market goes up. So anyway, let me get the scripture because yeah, China's dumping the debt. They bought up all that debt, which became a world currency. All right, one country's debt became a world currency, man. Their debt note. Ain't that something? So they started duplicating that debt. So the more dollars created, the more debt that America is in, and each person, every American citizen. So that's why the scriptures say that, man. It has to end at some point. There has to be a retraction of that currency and replace it with something else. That's why they're going to use the RFID microchip. All right, they're going cashless, a cashless society. That's why ISUPK and them going off, man. These idiots, IUIC, whoever. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. See, it's happening right now. It's not lying. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. See, a lot of people put it off. They say that's not going to happen in our lifetime. The banks got it. Oh, look, the stock market just went up, so we good. You know. Behold, his soul. Oh, Salaki. It will not tarry, right? Verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. And that goes for 2/3 of our people as well. All right, not just Esau. But the just are going to live by faith, man. Not having faith in this damn currency or this economy or dollar. All right. It's in God they trust. Well, we trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. All right. And we know these things on the earth are temporal and they're coming to an end. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, right? He transgresseth meaning to continually sin. All right. By what? By wine. Wine represents philosophies and their demonocracy, their Christianity, their system. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, right? With that demonocracy pushing that around the world, setting military bases up in different countries, right? Who enlargeth his desire as hell, right? That dollar gave America power in the military. America was created to be the hammer of the earth, the military protection for the European bankers. But instead, it became a whore. They used it. They used the same weapon, America, to steal from these countries. All right, like a stick up. But now these nations are waking up and they ready to pick the feathers off this damn bird. All right. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, right? They make America the mocking and the gazing stock. And just last week, they said Russia, China, and Iran were enjoying the chaos that's going on in America. All right. We already saw Europe and Britain mocking America and France. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, man. See, America think it has some power, but it doesn't. All that power comes from Europe, and all the riches and wealth that it has, it got through what? Robbing, stealing, and killing. And fraud, which is the dollar. The dollar is fraud. It's fake currency. All right, it has no value. So they have increased in that which is not theirs, man. All right. It says, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. See, that can't last long. If you look at that word clay, it says what? Debt. All right. All right. It says, Ibatyat. It says something pledged, pawned goods, weight of pledges, heavy debts, man. And that's what America has laden itself with, heavy debts. That's what it clothed itself with. It made itself rich, and its covering is in heavy debt, all right, owing people. All right, IOUs. It says, shall they not rise up suddenly out of nowhere? See, that's what happened. That shall bite thee. All right, to bite. Let's see what bite means. All right, it says to bite. It says what? To pay, give interest, lend for interest or usury. To give interest. To give interest, man. To strike with a sting as a serpent. Figuratively, to oppress with interest on a loan. So it says figuratively to oppress with interest on a loan. And that's going to be the EU, the 10 horns spoken of in Revelations. All right, where they're going to strip her and eat her flesh, meaning take of all her that she's covered with, the debt and the money and the riches and wealth. And also these other nations, they're going to oppress America for the interest in what they owe, man. All right. And interest is usually added on when somebody can't pay something until they default. You can't pay it. All right, well, I'm going to let you go this week, but we're going to have to add on about 15%, 10%, whatever. So that's what's happening. That's why America's debt been going up. And the more people spend dollars, the more the debt increases. All right. So shall they not rise up suddenly that shall oppress America, right, for interest on a loan, or bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Let's see what that is. It says to plunder, spoil. And America is like being in a damn MMA fight, somebody going for the damn arm bar. You know, once somebody getting put in that situation, they see it happening, but it's like a python squeezing them and moving, and they can't get out of it if they don't know how to counter it, or if they don't have any power. All right. They slowly begin to see that they're getting consumed and destroyed. And that's what's happening with America. China's becoming stronger, you know, and America's losing power. Babylon. It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, of all that dwell therein. All right.